Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 34 of Touched. This one is titled Unorthodox. Come on, we'll snuggle in your bed, he said after you two had hugged for a bit. Lightly he drew your body to his, bridal style, and held you as he used his wings to lift the two of you off the bed and carry you out of his room back to yours. Your bed's for snuggling, and mine is for the reason you'll call me Daddy, he said lowly, and your brain short-circuited. How can he be so hot? Oh my god. He entered your room and walked over to the bed, lay you down gently before crawling around you and laying down next to you. See, he said, smiling in the dark, I can be innocent too. Sure, you said with a little chuckle of disbelief. No, really, he laughed as he cuddled into you. There was a moment's silence as he pondered on something. Hey, Yin, he said softly. You hummed back. Would you be my wife? He asked gently, his voice sounding vulnerable all of a sudden. I know it's really sudden and kind of rushed and all, but when you said that you liked the idea of taking my last name because I was your husband, it made me really happy. Your heart did a little skip in your chest as he continued to lay snuggled into you. I'm not saying all of this to try and get you to sleep with me either, he added. I genuinely really like you, and on top of you taking my last name for protective purposes, I'd really love it if we got married. For real. Are you sure? You whispered. Yin, I've never been more sure in all my life, he said in a serious voice. Please, would you marry me? You were speechless. This isn't how you ever thought your life would end up, let alone the way that you envisaged being proposed to. Suddenly Hawks got up and hopped off the bed, kneeling on one knee beside it. You sat up and looked at him, confused. He tenderly reached out and took your hand. I never thought I'd be proposing to the girl I've fallen for in my guest bedroom of my house at 11:30 p.m. at night, in nothing but pants, he deadpanned. But here we are. You laughed, and you saw him smile in the darkness. I'll ask you one more time, Yin. Would you make me the happiest man alive and be my wife? Yes, you said, beaming from ear to ear. You felt his body relax, and he gave you a relieved smile. Man, that was pretty stressful. I don't know what I would have done if you'd said no, he laughed, scratching the back of his head with his free hand. Once we get this alias name of yours processed, then I'll organise for a marriage certificate to be made as well. I'm so sorry, we won't be able to have a proper wedding at this time, but maybe in the future when this whole situation is over. You nodded in the darkness and squeezed his hand. Okay, he said as he climbed back onto the bed. This doesn't mean that we have to, do stuff straight away either. I'm well aware that I only just kissed you a few weeks ago. Thanks, Keigo, he said gratefully as you turned and snuggled into him. Don't worry, I'm gonna get you a pretty ring too, baby, just so it feels more official. I want to adorn you with all the pretty little things that you deserve, he said as he ran his fingers through your hair. I think this is the longest you've ever gone without making a pass at me, you said cheekily to him. Oh, that can be changed in an instant, baby girl. I got plenty dirty little things I want to say to you. You blushed. Even in the dark I can tell you're blushing, he said with a chuckle as he manoeuvred himself so that his lips were right behind your ear. You want to hear what I have planned for the night that we truly become husband and wife? He leered as he nibbled and sucked on your earlobe. Immediately you were buzzing again and squeaked. His gentle chuckle caressed your ears as you pulled away and rolled over to get away. "Aw, where you going, chicken? I just want to cuddle," he said as he grabbed you around the waist and pulled you back towards him. He kissed you gently on the exposed part of your neck and shoulders, and you relaxed as his arms held you close. Just then you were aware of something hard rubbing against your backside and you froze. Hawks immediately knew why you'd frozen and he chuckled mischievously into your ear. "It's not a flashlight, baby," he said lowly. You screeched and flew out of bed as Hawks burst out laughing. The next morning you got up with Hawks. He had slept in your bed with you again, and the two of you had cuddled for a good portion of the night. He was a deep sleeper, but at the same time, if you felt that you were uncomfortable or having a bad dream, he'd just adjust you enough to make you comfortable, or rouse you just enough to pull you out of your nightmare. "You want coffee, chicken?" he called out as he cruised around the kitchen in his pyjama pants. They were hanging so low that you could clearly see his V-line, and your eyes kept getting drawn there. "Yes, please," you said quietly as you chilled on the lounge watching him work. He had his back to you as he stood at the stove cooking some eggs and chicken bits, and you checked him out from behind. "You feasting your eyes, are you, baby?" he called over his shoulder. You looked away. "My feathers have been picking up that you've been watching me all morning," he said with a smirk. You could hear that familiar cockiness in his voice. "I like that you're checking me out, but my back muscles aren't broad enough," he said as he stretched his wings out. That's an amazing wingspan he's got there, you thought, as you glanced over his brilliant red feathers. What's your top speed, Keigo? You asked curiously. Don't know, to be honest, but it's pretty fast, he said casually. I was involved in a high-speed chase once and shot through an intersection, low to the ground, about car height, and the speed cameras didn't even acknowledge that anything had passed through there after the car had run the red light, he said with a laugh. I later asked the superintendent if the cameras had a top speed that they couldn't register beyond, and he told me it was 1,800 kilometres per hour, or 1,120 miles per hour. What? You said loudly in disbelief. Yeah, he chuckled, pretty fast. But I'm not fast at everything, he said casually as he turned around and put the food that he had been cooking down on the 2 plates. Oh? You asked curiously. He walked around the kitchen bench and over to where you were lying on the lounge and leaned down to cage you in. When I get you in between the sheets, you'll understand, he said lowly with a smirk as he captured your lips against his tongue playing with yours before he pulled back. Hey, you're getting more relaxed with those kisses, wifey. Well done, he said cheekily as he pulled himself up again and walked back to the bench to pick up the plates. Breakfast is ready, he added cheerfully as he walked over to the table. You just lay there, somewhat breathless, wondering if it was possible to become pregnant with just words. Oh, my lordy's too much, she wailed internally. Come on, baby, chicken's getting cold, he called, his attention now wholeheartedly consumed with the thought of breakfast. And there ends chapter 34. For those curious, I did actually do all the research on Hawks' top speed and the top speed of cameras. Someone out there on the internet has either way too much time on their hand or an obsession with Hawks, which I can completely understand. And there's a lot of maths involved. I'm not good at maths, but man, they did their research, that's for sure. Stay tuned for chapter 35 coming tomorrow.